Auburn must have DJ Durkin on staff at all costs, but as defensive coordinator.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. We are joined by the Ben Taylor, host of Auburn Opelika this morning over the Auburn Network family of stations. We'll talk about the potential impact that this could have to the Auburn roster, but more and more chatter about Auburn's head coaching search, and you're hearing all of the same names from all of the different places. And I've seen the chatter about DJ Durkin being Auburn's next head coach fizzle out just a little bit. And I think it's more than just the loss this past Saturday. I think some of it has to do with, I think John Cohen wants to make a splash. And I think they have a unique situation where in a lot of these instances, some of it depends on who they bring in, but I think DJ Durkin staying on as coordinator is something that Auburn would like. I think it's something that DJ Durkin would like. And I think it's something that most of these potential head coaches would like. It's just got to fit culturally and from a personality standpoint, Ben. But keeping Durkin on staff as defensive coordinator should be a priority in this search.
I think that is one of the first things that the new head coach that comes in should reach. He's literally the first guy you talk to, not John Cohen. After you get off the phone with John Cohen or you get off the phone with your agent from getting the offer and knowing you're going to accept it, find a way to get DJ Durkin's number and go, what do you need?
Yeah.
And this is why. And I think it comes everything from not just retaining players, but it seems like even the offensive side of the football seems to like him. The team in general just likes him. I do wonder, and Zach, do you think that conversation was had when he got named interim, that Cohen said, I'm going to make a splash. I'm going to go ahead and tell you now that, yes, you will have the ability to apply and be in the running, but I am actively going to be looking outside of these four walls of the athletic department.
Yeah, I mean, it's been kind of dubbed an audition. And I think if he would have beat Vandy and then beat Mercer and then beat Alabama, I think it would have been a situation where like you may have to hire him. And he may beat Mercer and beat Alabama, and it'd be a situation where like, all right, yeah, you beat Alabama. Like that's kind of a big part of having the Auburn job. It's a big goal, is beating Alabama and winning these Iron Bowls. It probably changes the conversation if he does pull that off in a few weeks. But for right now, it seems like John Cohen is having these conversations and having these interviews, and you're hearing reports kind of circle from different places that certain guys being interviewed.
Yeah.
And I think that's the plan. I know Auburn fans, like, they love DJ Durkin, and there's a lot of people that look at what happened Saturday and they use that as an argument for DJ Durkin, which I'm a little surprised, if I'm being honest, if that was like the majority reaction to Saturday's loss. But I mean, I still understand like why you want DJ Durkin around. He's an outstanding defensive coordinator.
Yep.
My concern is like, or my question is like, I think it stops there. I think he's an outstanding defensive coordinator, and that's what Auburn needs him to be.
I was on the DJ Durkin train heading into Vandy. And so my emotions have changed. And then Monday, we saw him as he was somewhere because he was in a sports coat. He was behind some podium or something. And he did not come across as pitching for the head coaching job. He came across as pitching potential head coaching candidates the ability to remain in Auburn with his family.
Right.
That's how it came across to me anyway. And so not because of that presser or because of those statements did I jump off, because I was kind of off the Durkin train about third quarter of the Auburn Vandy game.
Okay.
I was moving in. I was like, maybe he's not the answer during the third quarter of the Auburn Vandy game. And then when I saw those comments, I thought, okay, they always say coaches, when they step to a podium, they're not talking to the media. They're trying to send a message somewhere else, whether it be to a player or something. It seems like that was the message he was sent. I see myself being here for a long time. Oh, my family wants to be here. We want to raise our kids in the school system here. My wife loves it here. So it was kind of like, okay, there's his pitch to whatever candidate is out there interviewing to give me a call when you get the call that you're going to be offered the job. So,
yeah. Ben, if you don't mind, let's take a step back to something you just mentioned. You said you were pro Durkin going into the game Saturday, where a lot of people were on the fence, and then they came away saying that now they're pro Durkin. What was it about that made you say, maybe he's not the guy?
Number one, I think it was a positive, me thinking that, because I thought if he would have spent more time in the defensive rooms this week instead of being the head coach and doing the head coaching responsibilities all week long, the defensive game plan probably would have been a little different than what it was against Vanderbilt.
So I've said that over the past few days, and then I had some conversations with people last night, and I'm now wondering how much of that is legitimate. Like, sure, he has to do some of the head coach things, like he's sitting in these meetings, and he was part of the quarterback conversation, and he's doing the press conferences and Tiger talk and all that. Sure, but to act like he didn't have any time to plan the defense, I think is, as we've kind of had this conversation now for 3 or 4 days, like, I now think that's silly to say.
I think but didn't he admit in the post game that he didn't make the adjustments he needed to? Like, what caused that? What caused him not being able to make the adjustments?
Yeah, I mean, I think he got outcoached.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't say that he didn't have the adjustment because of time. He said they did something we didn't expect them to do.
Yeah.
Which happens a lot. It happens a lot in the game of football.
No, it does.
It happens a lot against us. It seems like more so when we're on offense, not when we're on defense. But I think, I mean, credit to Vanderbilt and Clark Lee's done an outstanding job, and Diego Pavia has been an incredible chess piece for him to use. But I think he just got beat, man. Like, I don't think everything has to be that deep.
Well, I'm big into. I do think he got beat. I subscribe to that narrative of him being torn to too many different places, or at least mentally was not where he needed to be. And the reason being is just because the proof's in the pudding in all the games leading up to that. They'd never given up over 24.
Yeah.
And they did give up 40 plus. And yes, some of that's being outcoached. I think some of that is, did he do everything he needed to do that week to have our defense prepared? And I would think that if you pulled him in a room and asked him that with no microphones, he would go, nope, I didn't do what I needed to do to have the defense prepared. And
yes, but why is that? I think is the big question. I think we all agree that the defense wasn't prepared.
Right.
Was it because he was doing head coach stuff, or did he just get beat and not predict and form the right game plan? I don't ever fully know the answer to that, but like, I do think that's where a divide is going to happen.
Yeah. So, and it's not just head coach stuff during that week. Whenever you lose your head coach, they're having to be counselors to kids, having to.
There's a big deal. Yeah. There's a lot.
You're talking about stuff not football related that they're doing. So, I mean,
you talked about how all these kids got called by every coach in college football about with NIL and offering them money and hit the portal and all that. Like, yeah, for sure.
This is totally off subject. What you have? How many phone calls or DMs did Cam Coleman get last week?
I'm sure he's been getting them like crazy all year.
Were there like 170 teams? He got 170.
Yeah. Thank goodness he loves Auburn. Thank goodness Cam Coleman loves Auburn. Give him a reason to stay. I think he will.
So I had to throw that out there because when Durkin did say that all these guys are getting calls, I'm sitting there thinking, can you imagine your phone if you're a 18, 19, 20-year-old kid, between the DMs from either Twitter or Instagram or Discord? Some of them are on some Discord platforms, or just they got their number from when they were recruited before, so they're probably texting them directly. And I could only imagine.
Right.
But I say this: it didn't affect his concentration on the game. Cam Coleman did just fine Saturday.
He was pretty good. All right. So who are some of the names that Durkin is most likely to stick around for.
Mm-hmm.
That's next, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Game Time is the best place to buy tickets, Ben. In fact, I can't imagine buying tickets anywhere other than with our friends at Game Time. I use Game Time because it's the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. We all love that. We all absolutely love that. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that is promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Obviously, no line yet for Auburn Mercer. I think it will be a lot. But there is a basketball line for tonight as Auburn hosts Wofford, 25.5 points for the Auburn Tigers.
How about that?
Expect another lopsided win for the Tigers. Hopefully. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Ben, I don't see a world where you get a defensive-minded head coach and you keep DJ Durkin. Like, that seems a little bit like a pipe dream to me. And I think the most likely candidate right now is John Sumrall. I don't think I'm going out on a limb with that. I think that's what most people are saying, that John Sumrall right now is probably the favorite to be Auburn's next head coach. And ironically, of all the names listed, he's the one that I have the hardest time seeing him keep DJ Durkin around.
I think that makes sense. However, John Sumrall has a DC now, doesn't he? At Tulane.
Yeah, he does.
So it makes me wonder.
But it's his DC.
It is. It's his. And he had a DC at Troy, which was also his DC. But it does make me wonder if that narrative of I think somebody should just flat out ask John Sumrall that in a room where there are no microphones, because apparently he's still also playing playing dumb when people go, "Hey, are you looking at Auburn?" No, my focus.
You have to.
I know
you can't answer that question. Everybody's like, "Oh, but he said this." I'm like, that doesn't mean anything.
I know. That's why I hate hearing it being asked in press conferences, because as a media person, the answer you're about to get. They're never just going to say, "Yep, been talking to the guys at Auburn. They've been calling me up, and there have been questions if I'm
been wanting to get to the SEC for years." Like, they're not going to say that.
Never going to happen. Dillingham, never going to happen. Kiffin, never. Well, I don't know. Kiffin may tweet about it. But other than that, never going to happen on the rest of them. But I don't know that narrative is true. I don't know that Sumrall wouldn't have enough wherewithal, that he hasn't been in the SEC yet, that he has got a defensive coordinator that has a team already bought into him, that he could come and be the CEO and oversee all of it, and that he would actually look at keeping Durkin. They seem, from what people have said, I don't know Sumrall, but they seem to be very similar as far as their approach, as far as the way they work, how they recruit. So I don't know. It seems like he could be an extended arm of Sumrall, and Sumrall may just be taking all this in and going, they have no clue. If I get offered that job, the first guy I call is going to be DJ Durkin and say, "Hey, 2 defensive minds are better than 1. And
that'd be awesome. And then just go out and here's a little bit of pushback to that, because everything I think you said could be true. Personality, they could be great. If Durkin just loves Auburn and wants to be here and he's cool working for a guy younger than him, that's fine. Great. That'd be awesome for Auburn. Be awesome for Sumrall, I think, because you have a better chance of keeping the roster together. But we've got to think about the salary of the coaching staff. Durkin's not going to get cheaper in that scenario.
Nope.
He's already one of the most highest paid. He might become the highest paid assistant coach in college football if you do that. And if you have Sumrall, I think you have to go out and get a hot shot offensive coordinator. You have to.
Yeah.
And so what does the money situation look like in that scenario? And if it's just an extra $1 million, can they make that $1 million appear out of thin air? Like, Possibly,
Can a
if that's the deal breaker and all this, like I'm sure they'll figure that out. But I think that is a question worth asking.
Yeah, Durkin's not going backwards. So not just
Nor
that.
should he.
No,
by the
he's
way,
and people have said, well, maybe he's and I'm like, he's going to be sought at. Like other teams are going to ask him to come be their defensive coordinator and still offer him more money. So then it comes down to happiness and seeing the best position for him to succeed. And
correct.
so if he sees that here, he would stay at the same amount of money. But you're right about the offensive coordinator. You're going to have to throw a bag at them. Not to mention, I don't know what Sumrall would ask if he came. Same with Dillingham. Same with ever who else that you were looking at bringing in. I don't know what they would want their price tag to be. And so it comes down to, can Auburn afford it?
Yeah.
Or not necessarily afford it as much as, can they make it happen to keep the head coach, offensive coordinator, and defensive coordinator happy?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's what kind of would separate it. But I still think that Sumrall would consider keeping him and would at least ask him to stay. Then it would be all up to Auburn and the administrative office to go, this is how we're going to do it. And them all being on the same page. I think it's a no-brainer if you get an offensive-minded guy. I mean, if a Dillingham comes or even a Lane or ever who,
Jeff Brom.
Yeah,
whatever.
Brom. That's the other name that's popped up. The guy from South Florida, his name always, comes up from time to time. I think that's a no-brainer that an offensive guy would definitely ask him to stay. But is Sumrall really the only defensive guy that's the names being floated out there right now? Also, what names are not being floated that we have no idea about that are going to end up coming here?
Yeah, that's always interesting. Like who's flying under the radar? I mean, did a show on Rhett Lashley for that reason. I think the contract situation, and then also them potentially going to the playoff throws that off a little bit. But I think it was worth asking the question. Another one that a name that I've been shocked at how silent it is James Franklin. I don't think Auburn's going in that direction.
Oh.
But if that name just like popped up in a few weeks, where I'm like, oh, okay, maybe they have been talking. Jimbo Fisher's a name that we've heard about, which that one, it's really hard for me to get excited about that option.
There is zero chance I get excited about that option.
Yeah. I mean, he'd have to put together an incredible staff for me to get blown away by that. But maybe you don't have to pay him anything because A&M paid him like $50 million or whatever.
Well, and that's one of the scenarios like some of the national people have thrown out there where they've broken down numbers and they're like, these are the guys you can get and have to not pay. And you can give the money to the assistants. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. But I'm with you on the Franklin thing too. That's just such a weird scenario with Franklin. Guy that's the fourth winningest coach in the last 5 years gets housed after going to a semifinal playoff.
Yeah, nobody seems to want him. I don't know, everybody's turning their nose up at him. So.
It's just his personality, man. It's just I don't like his personality.
And that's the main pushback I get is the personality fit. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I totally get it. And if John Cohen thinks that, he shouldn't talk to him. I get that.
But he's won everywhere he's been.
Sure.
I mean, it's the success is there, but but I'm with you. Lashley's interesting. It's interesting you did a show on that because the thing that sticks out in my mind when you bring up the Jimbos and the Franklins of the world is what Cohen said in his presser where he said, the guys we're looking at are still coaching, and those guys are out of a job right now.
They're not coaching right now. Correct.
So
it's a good point, Ben. It's a good point.
That makes me wonder. All right, what guy out there, like you said, is flying up because Auburn's notorious for that. Is going and finding somebody that's kind of off the radar. Everybody's been focused on this bird over here. Instead, the other birds over there eating the prey behind us and we're not paying attention to it. So I do wonder if there's something going on or are the names that we've talked about, those are the guys.
Yeah. I mean, there's a chance that they feel like Sumrall such a slam dunk that they're just going to go with it anyway. And that'd be great. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see. Sumrall's my number 2 to Dillingham. So if Dillingham tells you no, go get John Sumrall.
I'm in that boat now. I told you my 3 in no particular order last week were Durkin, Sumrall, Dillingham. That was my 3. And again, had no order. Now, after this weekend, I put them in order, and I'd go Dillingham 1, Sumrall 2, and Durkin 3. if I had to, if somebody gun to your head said, hey, put these in order, who do you want?
Yeah.
I'd be happy with either three of them. Let me just say that.
Sure. Ben, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
AUnetwork.com is where you can find me. Download the Radio Alabama app. We do sports each and every morning just after 7 with some names that you guys would recognize, like Taylor Korn, Kyle Rush, or Charlie 5, whatever you want to call him. Sometimes I call him things off the air that probably don't need to be repeated.
It's a good call.
He joins me too from time to time.
Yep. Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you later tonight as we react to Auburn basketball versus Wofford. This has been Locked on Auburn.